Okay, so welcome to the Ultra Running Sam podcast. This is a bit of a preamble. So a couple of listeners had sort of said to me, namely one that's been quite insistent, saying that I need to do a preamble to the podcast before talking to the guest. So tonight's guest is Elaine Bisson. I'm going to ask her how she pronounces her name fully. And we're going to talk about the spine race, training leading up to it, a history with the race, and what she thinks she's going to be able to do, since she's had quite a few second places in some big races. So I'm looking forward to having a chat with her. So we'll find out what she's going to do, and I'll get out of the way of the recording, and we'll talk to her shortly. Okay, so welcome to the Ultra Running Sam podcast, Elaine Bisson. You're going to have to tell me how you pronounce your name. I don't want to offend you by getting it wrong. Is it Bisson or is it Bisson?
I think it's supposed to be French, but Bisson is how I say it because I'm not really French.
so just focusing on that then. So, yeah, you were obviously born in France.
Oh no, I'm not French at all. It's husband.
Not French at all.
No. The name Bisson is French.
Well, so where did you grow up then?
Oh, I'm from Whitley Bay in the northeast.
Whitley Bay, right. Okay, so why do I detect a bit of an accent then? Is that just from spending so much time with your French husband?
He's not French either. Yeah, a long time ago the name, I think, Bisson was French, but yeah, not with our family.
So that's thrown all my theories out the window then, because I was listening to you on Will's podcast today, and I thought, I'm sure I can detect an accent, and I thought with the surname Bisson, I was thinking, oh, you must have French roots. So you the name does have French roots, but you don't have French roots then. Have you ever been to France?
Yes, that's right.
Right, okay, so that's not that I had a load of questions about French heritage or anything like that, not at all. That would be a very poor podcast talking about running if we just talked about France, and it does make any it makes no sense now. So I just wanted to make sure I got your name right, because I know people have been offended by the way I've pronounced the name before. So that's something I'll try and get out of the way. If it's a name I'm not 100% sure on, I'll always ask for the guest to sort of say. So we've sorted out the fact that you're not from France, Whitley Bay. So could you, for the listeners and the viewers that that aren't familiar with you, like I'm proving that I'm not familiar with you, how did you get into ultra running? Where did all of this start for you, and your history coming into running?
I used to run at school. I used to do the cross countries and the track stuff. I had a big break when I went to university, as most people do, and then I got back into running after I'd had my kids, just to get fit again. I started on the treadmill. Used to have the baby monitor. Used to get them off to sleep, go on the treadmill, have the baby monitor in case they all woke up, and just used to do 20 minutes. And it was years on the treadmill, and then I entered the Great North Run, as you do when you're from the northeast. I did that a couple of times. And I don't know, over a few years I decided to join a running club, joined the local running club, still just road stuff. I started doing off-road after I'd done the London Marathon, because I couldn't stand all the noise and the smells and all the people. So I did a few trail races in kind of North Yorkshire, and then got friendly with the fell running coach in the club. Went out to the lakes with him a few times and just loved it, because as a kid that's where I used to spend my summer holidays, and absolutely adore the place. And he sort of got me completely obsessed with running on the fells, particularly in the lakes, but just anywhere. Did the Bob Graham, that's like 2018, and then it's kind of just escalated, I think, really from then. I did the Lakeland 100 a couple of times, and then recently Dragon's Back Spine Race, Spine Challenger. Yeah.
And the rest is history. So I know, looking at the sort of your racing history, you seem to have a real knack at coming second in races.
Yeah.
is that something that you're conscious of, or is it something just, you know, that just seems to happen when you do big races?
Yeah, it's just kind of been unfortunate, but it's fortunate still because it's still a great position to get. I don't know. I think time I'm going to turn up and somebody who's not better than me will not be there.
Yeah, fair enough. What do you think it will take then to go that one extra position? What are you? Do you feel like there's anything that you need to work on other than, you know, someone else not being there? Do you think that, because I know I've talked to runners before and they've sort of said that they've kind of got stuck in a certain place in races, and they seem to always come back to this sort of like third or fourth, something like that, and they say that sometimes it can turn into a bit of a mental block, that they're aware that they're in that position in the race again, and they just think, oh well, I'm just going to come third again, this is just how it works for me. Have you ever thought that in a race, or are you always battling to try and win?
I don't think I've ever gone into a race to actually win it, and a lot of the ones recently that have entered, I've not experienced anything like them. So like the Dragon's Back was huge for me, doing the multi-day and big days. So I never went in to win it. I just wanted to do the best and wanted to sort of finish it. I wanted to get over Crib Goch and complete the rest of the days. I suppose because I've done a few recently, and like big ones as well, where I have come second, I suppose it's maybe becoming more possible that I should be able to win at some point. Yeah, so I'm not sure what would have to change. Probably a mindset thing, or I don't know. I think fitness wise, I'm good to go, but yeah, my mindset's not great at times.
Yeah, I'm sure that's something that lots of ultra runners not suffer with, but it can be a common thing, can't it? If you train as much as you train, but do we always, you know, train ourselves mentally for? But then you're taking on such, you know, big challenges like the Dragon's Back. That's not for the faint-hearted, is it? That kind of race. Were you sort of in fear of any of those stages? And that you talked about Crib Goch. I've been up Crib Goch a few times, and I know it can be a bit dicey even in the best of weathers. Was there anything that, you know, that terrified you about that race and then you got over?
Yes, it was that section on the first day. Once I was over Crib Goch, I kind of did I did a happy dance, because that was that was I was scared of the rest of the race. Terrain wise, I'm sort of happy with. It was just the accumulation of the days and the ascent over those days.
Yeah, it can really hammer your legs, can't it? The descender, definitely. So as far as your history with the spine, obviously it's this week. It's come around really quick. What sort of attracts you to the spine then? Is this a case of like just wanted to tick off all these big bucket list kind of races in the UK, or is it, you know, have you got a deep relationship with it?
Well, I did the Challenger a few years ago, and after I'd finished the Challenger, I remember saying to them, like, my friend was at the finish, and I was like, oh my god, it was like a nightmare. I feel a bit traumatized. And then to move up to the spine, probably I felt the same last year, but it's such a huge challenge in the UK as well. think just the sense of achievement at the end is huge, and that's probably the pull. Last year, I was really proud to finish, and it took a lot out of me, but I kind of feel like I could have done better. There was a few things that I messed up along the way, so I suppose I'm back to see if I can sort those. Hopefully the weather's will help me do those, but yeah, I think that's the attraction, is that it is really hard, and it's that journey that you take.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything that you've specifically worked on in the past year then, since your experience of last year?
So my feet were the major issue. Last year they got really, really swollen, and I put bigger shoes in, but my bigger shoes weren't big enough. So for the majority of the race, they were really bad. So I did the Northern Traverse in April last year after the Spine, which is shorter, but it's quite similar in that it's the multi-day kind of continuous race. So I think I sorted my feet out, hopefully, and just having those two experiences, kind of going to this one feeling a little bit more confident. I've also cut down a lot of my weight. So my pack was ridiculous weight last year. It was something like, I don't know, it was nearing 10 kilograms with all the food and the water. And I've pretty much halved it this year. So that just, I think, yeah, just little bits like that, you think, okay, a lot more confident.
So you've halved the weight of your pack, and you've probably, in doing that, halved the amount of money in your bank account as well. Yeah, the kit. Do you find, as you've sort of got into the race a bit more, the second time, do you find that you're starting to obsess over kit a little bit then, as far as like trying to get the weight down and things like that?
Yeah, so the challenge in my bag again was huge, and it was really, really heavy. So for the Spine, because it had been cancelled, so I can't remember which year it was. Would it be 2020? And then it was cancelled for COVID for 2 years, something like that. So I'd been sort of training for it for those years, and improved kit over those. So it's been sort of a gradual thing over the last couple of years to get to this point. So it's not been a massive expenditure all.
So you haven't been out in the last 2 weeks spending, thousands of pounds on new kit. That's good. You've had a few years to build it up. So as far as your preparation goes, as far as your training for this year, is that, I know obviously you're coached by Damien Hall, aren't you? Yeah. So when did you start working with Damo? Was that since last year, since the Spine last year?
It's just been since September last year. I think I've done quite a lot of ultra races last year, and always finished second. And kind of my mindset is I don't know, so I've done well on that one. How do I improve? And you kind of always feel like you have to do more, or it has to be bigger and better. And I got to the point where I kind of thought, actually, probably having somebody else look at what I'm doing is probably more beneficial than me kind of upping it all the time, just doing it smarter and better. So there's just a lot more, I suppose, a lot more structured, and it's nicer to have somebody else's input to say when to do your strength work. And I never backed out of doing like the long runs, but I probably didn't do the speed work as well, or maybe skipped a few sessions of the sort of quality work.
Yeah, so coaches are a good thing, aren't they? They're good for reining you in and making sure that you don't do too much. I think, like you say, as you get into ultra running, especially if you've within the last few years, when people have started to get into it, there's there could be a danger of just thinking you've got to keep one up in all the time, haven't you, in distance and how hard the races are. And I know I get stick from from my ultra running friends for not doing big long races, but I'm, I find like a bit of a happy medium for races that I'm into. And I know that I will go towards races like the Spine eventually and do really long stuff. But for now, I'm happy. When I'm fit, I'm happy to do shorter races. Do you find that you're going to Damien and sort of saying, what should I be doing long term down the line as far as like the next few seasons, or is it just short term focus of the Spine coming up?
It was just for the Spine coming up, but yeah, like you said, he's kind of reined me in. So I did, when I asked him if he could coach me, I had a lot of races put in, and not all to race, some just to do his training, but they were quite big. So a lot of those were cut out, probably sensibly cut out.
Yeah, it's good to have somebody else's eyes on what you're doing. It takes the pressure off you as well, doesn't it? So do you feel like you're ready for this week then? Do you feel like, I've talked to other people, other competitors for this year's race, and sort of put this to them, and they all seem very well, apart from one, they've all seemed very confident in their training and how prepared they are. Do you feel like, I know you're obviously going to have some trepidation, but do you feel confident of turning up and towing the line at Edale and be ready for it?
Yeah, the nerves always get to me. I'm more confident since I've packed my bag and got the GPX on my Garmin device, and yeah, there's little sort of stages that make you happier. But I'm definitely confident in the training that I've done. It's just knowing what's coming is quite terrifying.
Just thinking about the course then, are there any bits of the course that you're looking forward to, or dreading coming across?
Yeah, so I always look forward to once we come near Middleton, because I've done that stretch a lot. It's quite near home. I was really happy last time I hit Middleton. I hate Crossfell, and then the Cheviots on a good day are lovely. On a bad day, they're really bad. But that'll be the last home straight, hopefully.
Yeah, that's it. Do you think there's any, as your view of the race changed now you did it last year, is, as far as those bits that you're looking forward to and dreading, are they based on your experience from last year only, or is it sort of from recce in that you've kind of built up this profile of the race that you are looking forward to or not?
Yeah, just really just from recceing. I've been up Crossfell. There's only one time that I've been up Crossfell with a view on a sunny day. The rest of the time it was covered in fog, and it's not a very pleasant place usually. And last year I hit it at night time with ice and fog, and my head torch messed up and my watch messed up, so it was really bad on the race. Yeah, so previous sort of wrecking as well.
What was that, would you have said that was your lowest point last year's race, or did you have, it's such a long race, I'm sure there's multiple times that you can have highs and lows?
I think when I hit Dufton, I was really, really tired. I started hallucinating badly, so sort of, yeah, probably not in a great place anyway, going up Crossfell, and then head torches and things packing. So, but hopefully I won't be so excited at Middleton, and I'll actually charge my head torch and my watch properly, so it won't happen this time.
I was at Middleton checkpoint, and I don't remember seeing you come through. There was a few people that obviously came in, and I went from there. I think Wednesday or Thursday, can't remember. Yeah, it's a great little checkpoint, isn't it? In the it seems it's a very old, obviously an old building and everything, and it was absolutely freezing cold when we got there. Could you tear yourself away from that roaring fire that was there?
And the sun was shining when I got there, so it was about a
Was
bit
it?
time, yeah, and the sun was streaming through the windows, and it was just beautiful, and I really look forward to that stretch up the river to the forces. It's really pretty. It was a lovely day. Yeah, until I hit just after Cauldron Snout and it turned dark, and yeah, the sleep monsters started coming.
Is that something that you find that you struggle with in all races, or is it, is it just the fact that the spine's so long and I don't know what your sleep strategy is. Did you have a set plan of sleep, or is it just make it up on the fly as you went?
I think I tried to sleep at Hawes last year. I was just really, really busy, so I didn't bank much sleep. And yeah, it was kind of daylight, and I was quite happy when I got to Middleton. I probably should have stopped there and tried again, but yeah, we'll see how we go this year. But you can't really plan so well, because you can't kind of force yourself to sleep if I was a bit excited, and it was a bit too busy, so we'll just see. I've got a vague idea of what I'll do, but if it happens, then that'll be the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, because a few people had said to me that Middleton seemed to be the place where a lot of people choose to sleep. Seems to be like a natural place to sleep for the amount of time that you've been moving. Yeah, but obviously that can all go out the window. Anything can happen in the spine race, can't it? So as far as your own predictions, so this week I've done quite a few podcasts this week, trying to catch up with quite a few people, same as like Will has been doing, just trying to do a load of interviews and put them all together. And I put a few out this week, and earlier in the week I spoke to, it's only Tuesday, feels like earlier in the week, must have been at the weekend, we're all blurring into one. I spoke to Alison Walker, and you were her definite for the win, so she's backing you as far as on the podium. What are your thoughts on, obviously other than yourself, you would love, to get that position, and especially first and not be second again. Have you got any ideas other than yourself how the race will pan out for the women?
I haven't actually looked at the entries, so I don't know who's running.
Is that on purpose, or is it just you've just not got around to doing it? Do you purposely not look at the roster?
Yeah, on purpose. I think it just I just run as best as I can, and whoever's around me, it's kind of irrelevant, especially over distance. You can't sort of set out a big kind of race strategy, I don't think.
Yeah, I heard Ian Keith being interviewed, and he was asked whether he looked at the race, asked if he looked at the lineup, and he said, I obviously look at the lineup, but it doesn't make any difference to my strategy and my plan. It's irrelevant what everyone else is doing. I'm just concentrating on what I'm doing, and he's obviously the king of pacing, isn't he? Do you have your own sort of set idea? Have you got like an A, B, and a C goal, or is it just you going in there open-minded as to how things will play out?
Hopefully I can manage feet and everything better. Hopefully the weather is as kind as last year. I think it was reasonable. I suppose my main goal is to finish feeling in a better place, because I was pretty done in last year. But if I could beat my time, then that would be an added bonus, I suppose. And then like podium, it depends who else is there and how they're running as well. So there's lots of variables on this race.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's one of those races. I mean, last year proved that with the men's race, that if you'd have looked at the first day and saw Kim and Damien flying off, you'd have thought, well, obviously they're gonna be on the podium, and it doesn't work like that, does it? It's such a long race with so much stuff that could go wrong, but there's also so much stuff that can go right as well. How do you feel about the things that can go wrong? Have you sort of developed a way of coping with with all eventualities, or is there anything that you'd sort of dreading that might happen and go wrong for you?
Oh, there's loads of things that can go wrong. I suppose there's a lot of it is not really in your control. So I know the route, and I've tested my kit, and I've got the right things in my bag. So if I can kind of look after myself and make sure that I'm, warm enough and eating enough, then the other things that go wrong sort of not. I don't think they'll be in my control. Injuries or things like that.
Have you suffered any injuries in this year coming into the race, or has your training sort of been okay as far as that goes?
Yeah, my training's been good. Yeah, nothing so far. Touch wood.
That's it, definitely. Yeah, it's I suppose you've just got to go into it, not hoping that everything will go right, but just if you start focusing on the negative, then that can affect your mindset going into it. So you've got to be as positive as you can be. Do you feel like this is your time to win it, or are you just happy to be out there and compete?
I think I could do better than last year. So it depends who else is there and how well they can do. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, it's a bit of an awkward question, so I shouldn't really ask that. It's putting you on the spot. Well, as far as your preparation's gone, then with all your kit and everything like that, and I know spiners are obsessed with sorting their kit out and packing. Have you packed and repacked your bags? How many times have you repacked your bag this week?
So I kindly made myself lists of things that I'd packed last year. So my drop bags, pretty much, I just got my lists out and that's in. So I've been
Laminated.
Food. Yeah. Organized last year. So I was thanking myself. And then the backpack's just what you have to carry and a few extra layers for me. I always like my extra layers on. But the food's going to be messed around with quite a bit over the next few days, I think.
Yeah, a prime position of where you put things. Is there anything in your kit that is sort of you can't live without? There's something that you've discovered, on last year's race or in between on other races that you feel like you would be panicking if you forgot it on race day?
The waterproof socks are a godsend.
Which brand do you go for?
Dex Shell.
Dex Shell, yeah. Everyone has the Dex Shell, don't they?
I've just got some nice mid layers that I like.
Yeah, is that something that you've played around with your kit over the year, or is it something that you've been set since last year's spine and you know exactly what you're going to use again?
Yeah, my kit's pretty much the same as what I had last year. I've got all my water clothes out and reproofed them, so there's not much new in that at all.
So all ready to go, all systems go.
Yeah.
So just thinking, putting the spine to one side, then have you thought that far ahead as far as like what you not next year, we are next year now, aren't we? This year holds as far as like races for you? Have you thought that far ahead, or this is the only thing that you can focus on at the minute?
Yeah, this is the focus at the moment, but I have entered the Cape Brass Ultra.
Yeah. When is that? When is that?
That's May. End of May.
That'll soon roll around, won't it? Won't be long. What about into the summer? Have you got anything that you planned? Any races planned for the summer or autumn?
I haven't got really anything after that. I'm sure I'll find something. Don't worry. There'll be things on the cards, but nothing big.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I'm looking forward to see seeing how you do. I was going to say next week, but it's actually this week, isn't it? Are you all packed up and ready to when are you getting to Edale?
We're going to go on Friday. Registration's all Saturday.
Yeah. Well, I'll be up there from Friday night at some point with Will and the rest of the media team. So I'm throwing myself into the media team this year. Last year I was on checkpoint at Middleton, and this year I've somehow managed to blag my way onto the media team. So I don't know whether I'll just be driving Will around for most of the week, if he'll let me use the camera or not, but we'll see anyway. And so I'm looking forward to catching up with you at the weekend. Have you got anything sort of before we finish? Is there, and do you want anybody to for people to get in touch with you or to follow you? Are you big on social media or anything like that?
Not really. I've got a small following, so it doesn't matter. No.
Small, loyal, dedicated following that obviously knows that you're not French, unlike me. And my friend Paul. If you meet Paul on the spine, Paul Howlett, he's from the northeast, and obviously he'll possibly listen to this before the weekend, and he'll be really offended that I didn't pick up on your northeast accent. I'll be in trouble for sure. But thanks for coming on. I appreciate you giving us some time and having a chat, and I hope everything goes to plan this week before you get there, and everything goes to plan during the race. And I'm sure I'll see you at some point and possibly be pointing the camera at you.
Yes, it's nice speaking to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers.